Okay, so welcome. My name is Ruth. I'm from Market Center 805, which is in Virginia Beach, Virginia. We're going to just get started and jump right into command opportunities today. I do want to just kind of see who was on, or was there anyone that got on the Command Con class yesterday that went all day, or did you hit parts of it? Yeah. Okay, so based on that, and you're welcome to come off of mute while we start out, like, what did you see? Is there anything special for today that you're like, man, I really want to learn this about opportunities, or I have like this really driving question now about how to use this platform? Because I want to take a note of that and make sure that that question gets answered today. Don't be afraid. You can tell me. Questions? No? Get warmed up, I guess. Okay.
We all want to learn. We just don't know where to start.
Okay.
I think there is a lot of tools, and maybe we're not going to use them all, and it's going to be different tools for different people.
Right. Yeah. Well, maybe as we go along, if you just want to come off mute as we go along and you have a question about how to specifically dive into something that's very practical for you right now, please let me know, because that's what makes this useful. So we have little classroom rules here. So if you're in a position to be able to turn on your Zoom camera, that's great. And if you put your name on there as well, there's a little ellipses you can click depending on the corner. It should be in the bottom right or the top right, and you can name yourself. Yeah, and then also using reactions when you have questions, it's good. Yesterday, I think people went over designs. Was it yesterday?
Yes.
Any follow-up questions from yesterday? No.
Not thus far.
Okay, well, let's get started. So the reason why we call this your digital whiteboard is because a lot of times when you walk past an agent's office, you're going to see their giant whiteboards up on their wall with all the different transactions and the stage that they're in that transaction. So the objective here is to try to take that concept and put it onto Command and be able to track your transactions like that. So today, I'm going to kind of come out of this screen and I'm going to just go directly into my platform in Command, and we're going to create an opportunity, a fake opportunity, and work through the stages together. And I'll just kind of explain what you see on the screen, and then we'll just kind of go from there. So again, like I said, if you have questions as we're going along, just go ahead and raise your hand. Sometimes I see it if you drop things in the chat. Sometimes I'm not so great at remembering to look at the chat box. So I will do my best. Okay. So
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's get started. Okay, so hopefully everybody's logged into their Command platform right now. Over here on the left-hand side, you're going to see our little menu. If you hit that red KW, you can pop it open. You can see all the different widgets that you have available. So we're going to go halfway down where the little handshake guy is, because we're doing a deal, and we're going to go into opportunities. And I'm just going to kind of give you bird's eye view of what we're looking at. I'm going to close out some other windows. Okay. My internet just got slow. I might have to.
Mine too.
There you go. I was gonna say, I might have to turn my video off for a second because all of a sudden it slowed down on me. Okay. So here we are inside of opportunities. What you're looking at, it's broken out. The green section up here is listings, buyers, and then leases if you happen to do that. When you come over here, we have the potential and the probable income for what you're going to be potentially making on these deals. So the potential earnings would be the absolute total if you closed everything sitting in your pipeline right now. Your probable is the likelihood based on how long it's been sitting in your pipeline and the likelihood of that closing. So you can see what those GCIs are. So you can kind of get a bird's eye view of what your earnings would be depending on how many people you have in that pipeline for the year, for the quarter, or however you chart your business. When you slide down to the bottom, you're going to see the percentage of who's in where. So in this one, it's 50-50, 50% listings, 50% buyers, and 0% on the leases. And then you can see your probable versus potential earnings. And that, to me, I use that as a motivator and an indicator to kind of track my business and make sure I'm doing my follow-up. So all of this, as we know, all of our systems need to be leaning heavily on agent communication to the client and our follow-up systems. So this is really meant to kind of like encourage you along the way. So let's go ahead and get started on just creating an opportunity in here. So upper right-hand corner, that's going to say create opportunity. We're going to go ahead and hit that. And it pops open with a few different criteria that you're going to fill out. So your opportunity type is, are you listing it or are you working on the buying side? So today, let's just go ahead and say we're going to do a listing. I'm the owner. If you had a team of it, then you could drop down to who is the owner that's going to be representing this listing, if that makes sense. Do I have teams on here, by the way? No teams. I just see head shaking. No teams. Okay. So, but that's what that would be. The client, if the client exists in your database, you can go ahead and kind of start typing their name and it'll pop up. Otherwise, you can add a client from here, which is a nice new feature. So I'm just going to use, how do I call him in there? Ben McCarthy. My brother. Yes. Humberto, did you have a question?
Yes, ma'am. I don't have a team yet, but I'll be very open to start some partnership with anybody that would be interested with starting somebody else as new as I am. The way I look at it, 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing. So
Yeah.
this class is on the Chesapeake area and are interested on starting a partnership, that probably we can help a lot more than trying to go each one our way.
Yeah, so people can drop that in the chat if they're open to doing that for sure. Okay, so as we move through here, so I've added the client. I suggest just having a test client inside of your database that you can work with. That just kind of helps so you can kind of track the transaction and see what your communication looks like with them. Whether it's a friend, a family member, I don't really care. You can practice on yourself if you want to, but I think practicing the process if you're completely brand new to this is very, very useful. Another question that people generally ask me is, when do I create the opportunity? Because as you know, in real estate, the conversations along the way to getting to the closing table are many. So I usually say once you've had a substantive conversation about doing a real estate transaction together with a client, that's when you can go ahead and start the opportunity. You don't necessarily need to have, assuming we're all hopefully in the state of Virginia, I think I've got some West Virginia on here maybe. You don't necessarily have to have your buyer broker completely in place just yet, but you want to go ahead and start that opportunity so you have a place to start dropping all of that information. So let's assume that I've talked with Ben. Ben says, hey, I'm thinking of listing my property probably in the next 3 to 6 months. Could you help me along with that process? Okay, so I say, yeah, let's go ahead and put you in here. So here's Ben. Let's say he owns the property by himself. If he has a co-seller, then you could add a spouse, a business partner, what have you. The opportunity name automatically says Ben McCarthy listing. Now, this is something that you might probably want to change in here and go by the address of the property as opposed to just the client's name, because it's just going to help you along the way as you go to sort through your database. So I'm going to call him 123 Main Street, and then I'll put Ben McCarthy. And I don't necessarily need it to say listing because it's going to be in my listing category anyway. Custom tags. If you want to go ahead and tag these, and this is good for your database now, but it also can go further into if you're working with teams, you can tag by the year that they're doing the transaction. You can also tag by, I'm going to call them a seller. And then if you want to tag by any other aspect, you absolutely can. So if you like you're farming a particular neighborhood and you want to have the neighborhood name on there, if you're targeting by different like lead sources, you can definitely put the lead of where that person came from on there. This just helps you stay a little bit more organized in your process. So like I said, the estimated close date, he said he would be looking in the next 3 to 6 months. So let's say we're gonna tag it for the end of January. Go ahead and say 3 months. Estimated listing price, we're gonna go with $350, roughly around the average for this area. And my commission rate that I'll be receiving on this side is gonna be 3% in this example. So my opportunity phase, I'm gonna start from the beginning. Just know that you could start from just about any other category. So cultivate, appointment, or active, and then a stage within there. But I want to start from the very beginning just so I can show you what it would look like to drag somebody all the way through this process. When I say drag, I don't mean drag the client through the process, even though that's what it might feel like. I mean, you're literally going to take and click and drag your little icon through the opportunity phases. Okay, so it automatically put me in the pipeline, but I'm going to go out so I can show you how I wound up here. So I'm right here now. So you see all these little numbers that shows you how many I've got in which category. So in my cultivate phase, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little on that screen. Okay, my cultivate phase, you can see I've got 2 that I'm cultivating. Appointment phase, active phase, under contract, and closed. So let's go ahead in there. And now you can see where they sit, right? So I've got a watch, nurture, hot under my cultivate section. This is where we've had that substantive conversation, right? So here let me walk through a few different things. First, these are the stages, okay? So if I want to come in here and I want to edit those stages, watch, nurture, and hot, and have checklist items for each one of these stages, you absolutely can jump in there and create some customized checklists to do, and then you can set it up to email the client as well. So here, I've just very basic thing, get the information of the lead, just as an example. And if I want to add another item, I could, I don't know, send a seller pre-listing. Save, right? And then if I want to add a client update, then I would say that I would need to send an email out to them, right? And if I want to edit it, I can. I want to delete it, I can. I can also drop and drag the order of how these things occur. You see that? So it's just a tool really to help you with how you want to organize your business. If you want to add another stage to this beginning process, then you can. I'm just going to show you what that would look like. I'm just going to call it move to appointment. Okay. And then when I go back out to this, now I've got move to appointment right over here, all the way over to the right. So you can really customize it according to how you run your business and what your business plan is. For some people in this cultivate section, 2 touches is enough for them in there. Because really, what's our goal? Our goal is appointment and get it signed, right? So the cultivate section really could just be a category where you put a lot of people that you've been having conversations with, and it's just a reminder to reach out to them and be high touch on these people that are talking about possibly listing their property in the next year, right? So then I'm just going to show you if I want to go back in here and I want to say, okay, I don't want that in there anymore. Delete. And then it's gone now. See? Any questions about how you kind of set this up? Just your screen, really? Nope. Okay. So then here's Ben. And this is what I meant when I said I can drag him along. I literally just take him and I move him to this category. And I move him to this category. And then once I've had that conversation, then I slide him over Let's go into the appointment. And now here he is. So my scheduling, Ben gets used a lot as an example. And he lives on 123 Sesame or Main. My scheduling section over here, I can again come in here and edit all my stages. I have one action item in this category, coffee closer. That's what I call it. My thoughts are, if I can get you to coffee, then I can probably get you to the closing table. So you can make it fun. You can make it interesting. You can kind of base it off your teams. You can base it off of whatever you do in business to keep you motivated. But that's kind of the categories that you want them to be in. So scheduling, scheduled, kept. I don't know if you guys want to open up in the chat if you feel like that's something that you need all three of those categories in there, that you need to drag them all, or if there's something you think you would change in there, because that's a lot of different task lists, if you will, to scheduling, scheduled, kept. You could just have scheduling and kept, and then you could have follow-up in there, and then have a follow-up system on how you want to follow up after they've kept the appointment and what your next steps are with them. So yeah, that's where you're going to move things. And then I'm just going to go ahead and take Ben, and I'm going to move him, scheduled to active. Who wants to take it? Cool. So here he is. And then now here's another category that we're going to start thinking about, because in the shifted market, we're going to be moving back towards a lot more seller strategies, staging strategies, pricing strategies, like just a lot of different points where we're going to be talking with that seller on how we're going to get their home sold. Their marketing strategies, their showing feedback, that kind of stuff. So these might be some things that you absolutely want to go into your edit stages section and just go ahead and drop that stuff back in there. Do I have people on here that have been in real estate for more than 5 years?
Yes.
Yes. So you're familiar with the market prior to this crazy boom and moving through a shift to a certain degree.
Very much so.
Yeah. So so this is where you can absolutely get in there and just start editing and make it make sense for your business, make it make sense for the current market, so that your follow-up and your reminders are really solid. Seller feedback is absolutely huge. Before, it was like you put it on the market over the last 2 years and you blink and it's sold, right? You barely had enough time to put a lockbox in and the sign in the yard and it's sold.
Right.
So we are really moving back towards that skill base, that high communication, and having those pieces in there will certainly help. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on the client now, and we're just going to dive in a little bit on what this looks like and how to get these pieces of information in on the opportunity. It's kind of hard to see, but at the top right corner of each one of these boxes, there's a little pencil. And that's how you're going to edit the general information on this client. So we're on the details section. If you click it, it pops up and you can add anything, edit anything, change what you need to change in here, okay? Over here, you do have to put the property address in order for this transaction to close. We're just going to somewhere in New York. Go ahead and save that. And then down here, you can work out any additional information that you want to, and you can show net on offer comparison if you want to as well. I know some people use seller net sheets in their business. Some people don't want to touch it because the second you say a number to a client, they're going to hold your toes to the fire. So that's up to you if you want to use that and how comfortable you feel in your business, but that is available in there as well. Seller profile, that's whether or not they're using your consumer platform. And then into marketing, this is a new-ish feature. It came out earlier this summer. So you can create any myriad of designs that you would like to use around this, whether it's a print statement or you want to run your social ads around your listing and do Facebook marketing ads. You can go ahead and set up the ads with preset templates and drop your listing information into these brochures and Facebook ads. So that's totally an option and it's set right there in front of you. So you don't forget it when you're getting this property ready for the market.
What did you
so-
hit on, Ruth? What did
Yes.
what did you hit on to get to that marketing part down there?
Just marketing. I'm just moving across this top menu. So I was on details, seller profile, now I'm on marketing. Do you see it?
No.
All right, so I'm gonna pop back out so you can see the process of how I got there. So I'm sitting in my stages and I'm at the listing stage right now. And I click on the client and it immediately pops open the details. That's the default page. And then I'm just gonna start going across that top menu to get to the different sections. So I'm on details. Seller profile is whether or not they registered on your consumer platform. And then I'm going over into the marketing category. And then in marketing is where you've got your preset, just listed open house for sale. You can click and do your Facebook ads from here. Are you with me?
Okay.
Okay. So,
I think-
like I said, this came out like this summer-ish. So it's just a neat feature because I think sometimes we get so caught up in like the process of just focusing on the client, just focusing on getting the admin portion done, just focusing on getting that person to the closing table that we forget the behind the scenes stuff on, we need to use this listing to continue growing our business and to continue to get repeat business out of it. So that would look like circle prospecting around your listing, right? That would look like using social media as a circle prospecting form around that listing as well. So that while we're growing this business right here, we're also stuffing the pipeline full of business as well. Does that make sense? Yes. Good ideas, bad ideas. You like it?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
I've got a few people that are nodding along with me. And then I got a lot of blank screens on here. So,
Sorry, I'm getting ready for work.
okay. So here we go. Now we're going into documents. This is more of the admin part of things. A lot of dropping and dragging unless you're importing from like DocuSign. So here again, there's a lot of different things to click on. So I'm going to kind of take my time as I go through this. So when you are working on a listing, I would dedicate probably about, if this is your first time through this, probably 25 to 30 minutes to really like spend some time working on the back end and the admin of all of this. So you've created that opportunity, you're dropping your documents in. If the property is now listed, you're doing your marketing, and then here you are putting all of your different pieces in here as well. So inside of ours, we can have a listing paperwork, like the full packet of all of the listing agreements, your exclusive agency to represent, and all of the disclosures that come with the listing. You can drop that all in at one go, one giant PDF, or you can drop in individual documents along the way. So it's up to you how you want to do that just listed listing paperwork information. So in our market in the Hampton Roads area, we are part of the RAIN MLS. So we use Authentisign for our signing, and we just drag everything from Instanet over into here. The way that I teach it in the Hampton Roads market is that as you're downloading your information from RAIN, you're saving your copy for your 3 years, which is our state standard, right? And then you're also dragging that copy into Command so that your broker has a copy as well. So you're checking 2 boxes when you do that one action. So it makes it pretty smooth. And then you're going to move all the way, we're all the way over on the left-hand side now. So we were listed, now we're under contract. So once you receive a ratified agreement on this property, then you go ahead and drop that in there. You receive your EMD, you drop a copy of that in there. You can click and browse to find things in your files if you want to, or if you've already got it downloaded somewhere, you can literally just take it and drop it and drag it. Like that. Make sense?
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Yeah. So as you just work through this, like I said, you're gonna spend a little bit more time here because you're gonna be waiting for documents. I think we're all kind of familiar with that closing process as you're moving along the way. So you're waiting for your condo docs to come in, you're waiting for your home inspection reports, you're waiting for moisture and termite reports. So those things are gonna occur as the transaction progresses, and this is how you just keep track of all of it as it's coming in, just dropping all the information right in here. So you can stay super organized. Then once you, as you're dropping them too, let me just give you, because I'm going to delete this anyway. I'm just going to drop something silly in here. Okay, so that I can show you what that looks like. So then now you see that button submit to MC is your market center. It highlighted teal. So now you can go ahead and submit to your market center, and I don't know who you have for compliance, but they'll pull in your forms and double check to see that everything is signed and you're in compliance. If you want to add a comment to something, you absolutely can. So other people that are coming into the transaction can kind of see where you're at in the process as well. So let's say I wanted to say at Anthony, that's the guy that works in my office. This is a test run example for a class. There you go. And so then Anthony can see, if he clicks on that little box right there, that as of this morning, I sent him a message and said, don't submit this because there's no one buying this house in New York today. So that's how you would use that. So if you have other people, like you have a transaction coordinator that pops in there, you can leave a note for them. You can leave a reminder note for yourself in there as well. So yeah, that's just a new feature or an added feature in there. And then under closed, once you finally close a property, you drop and drag your Ulta. So let's go ahead and drag something in here so that I can play with commissions. Cool. So now I'm going to come over to offers and commissions. Let's say I've got all my documents in there and I'm getting ready to go to the closing table, and I'm going to add an offer to this one. What do you want to call the offer? Let's say initial offer number 1. In the last 2 years, you might have offer 1 through 30. It just depends, right? So here we're just going to say we got one really good offer and this is the offer we're going to accept. So create that offer. The day the offer came in, let's say that it was today. And we're going to go ahead and close this property earlier than we expected. So let's close it on Christmas Eve. It's a nice Christmas present, right? Just be silly with it. The buyer name, you do need to have all of this information while you're getting ready to close this out. So really what I tell our agents is just take the first page of the contract, because that's the main thing that you're going to need to pull all the information. So you need like your ratified price, you need your closing costs, you need all of that type of information and who is buying this listing from your client. So let's call it Betty Buyer is buying the listing, and the associate's name is I'm a lack of fun names for today.
Betty White.
The Realtor. Okay. Here you can say whether or not they were pre-approved or pre-qualified. Let's say they went and got pre-qualified prior to reaching out to buy this house. One of the other reasons why we use associates' names in here is part of building your downline. So if you save all of their information, we can reach out to your co-broke, the person that you just did business with, and see if whether or not they'd be a fit at KW, if their business model would work well with our business model, or if they're looking to grow. So that's why you drop that in there. Let's get over here to terms. I just keep pushing next, and my screen is blown up so you guys can really see the detail on this. Usually you should be able to see all of this on one page. So your cash is your down payment. How much cash are they going to bring to the table? So we know this house is a $350,000 house. Let's say they're going to bring $50,000. So finance amount, we're just using big round numbers, is $300,000. So then your sales price comes up to the total amount. Your earnest money amount, let's say they did a $1,500 earnest money. Their option fee is whether or not like they're doing admin fees. There's a number of different ways you can schedule your option fees in there. I'm not going to put any in for today. The buyer will give notice within, let's say they ask for 10 days of contingencies to do their due diligence and their inspections. This is whether or not the seller is going to contribute to a residential service contract. So are they buying, is my seller buying the new buyer a home warranty? Something like that, you know, because we are going to start seeing a lot of that come back as part of kind of wooing the buyer. We've never had to woo them for the past 2 years now. We got to work on that. And then settlement costs, is the seller contributing to settlement cost? Again, we're going to probably see some of that happening again as well. So settlement costs could be your closing costs, prepaid, taxes, insurance, things like that. So let's go ahead and say they're going to give us $1,500 towards closing costs. Agent analysis, what were the pros and cons of working with this agent, and should we reach out to contact them? You can definitely pop that in there if you're interested. And then it's going to come out to here and it's going to say, here is your offer. You can accept or reject it, because you have the option of putting multiple offers in there so you can compare them and bring that to your seller. So let's go ahead and say we want to accept it, because I want you guys to see what that's going to look like. So then it changes my options. Now I can manage my commissions. And I want you to see what it looks like when you manage your commissions. So let's go back, edit that contract date, meaning your ratified date. So what is today, the 10th? Cool. And then as we move through this, you can see I'm selling 1 unit. My gross, my GCI is 10,500. My net after I paid my company dollar and split is 6,720. And then you can just see the breakdown on that and where I am in getting to my cap. I'm going to slow down for a second because I think the money part is important to us. So that's how you can kind of track where you're at. So in the beginning, when I was showing you probable potential GCI, now here is where you're looking at what you're actually taking home. Okay, until you cap, and then it's 100%. And then you would say submit. I'm going to go ahead and say that. I'm not going to go all the way through it, but I do want you to see what this looks like. So then you have options to do tax deductible donations to KW Cares or KW Kids. Or you can say skipped, donate and submit, or skip, right? Questions about how we get to this part, the getting paid part? No? Okay. And then over here in notes, if you want to put notes on it, you absolutely can. And then timeline, you can track and see what you've done along the way. So again, if you're in a team and you need to see who's doing what and who touched the file at what time to make sure things are moving along smoothly, then you can absolutely get in there and do that. Or not just if you're on a team, if you've got an admin, a transaction coordinator, an ISA, anything like that, where somebody might be buzzing in to do some work for you inside of your opportunities, here's where you can absolutely track that. Okay. So then let's pop back out to the sales pipeline. And I think I left him over here. So then I would just take my little guy and drag him to under contract once I'm ratified. And that's where I would have been putting that paperwork in, and then to my closed, right? Oops. Kind of have to like wait till it highlights and then we'll go in there. Right now I'm on board view. If I want list view, I can look at it like this. I like the board view. That's just my preference. You would just drag them like this down. Does that make sense? Instead of being on the board view, where you just drag it across. Okay, let me drop out and make sure we're actually answering everything. Yes. Is your marketing profile complete? So do I have questions right now about the listing process? Nope.
Not at this time for me.
Okay, so it's a very similar process for the buyers. I'm just gonna go in there just so that you can see what the process looks like. Because there are a few different stages along the way. And then I want to talk about your marketing profile. So let's use, do I have somebody that's fake in here? Nope, I'm gonna create another fake person. So let's do a buyer and let's do, now we're gonna do my husband, poor guy. He buys a lot of stuff because I do a lot of classes. Okay, so he's gonna buy Sesame Street today. And we're gonna go. My custom tags on him is it's 2022 and he's a buyer. And I don't know, that's about it for me with what I would want to put in there. Let's say his close date is December 15th. It's just the middle of the month. Time frame 1 month. Budget 350 again. Commission rate on this 3. And I'm just going to show you what it would look like if I just went ahead, because I've already had conversations and I went ahead and got my buyer broker signed and I got out there and I'm showing him properties. Okay, so I'm not even going to start in the very beginning. I'm just showing you what it would look like if I'm just a little bit behind on getting all of my paperwork in there. So let's go back out. Obviously, it always directs you immediately into this one. So let's pop back out and here he is right there.
Mhm.
Instead of starting off over here and cultivate, right? Now he's just an active buyer. So then same thing, let's go ahead and look at him. Same idea, everything that goes on here where you can hit these little pencils and it will, you can change any of the details inside of here. And I do want to select the property in order for it to go through. You can't submit for commissions unless this is done. Because I have had that happen a few times where I've had an agent freaking out because they want to get paid and they're like, I don't know what I'm doing. And well, we need to know what property you sold in order to pay you. So let's go by Sesame Street. Now this is something kind of neat. So Earnest is an earnest money deposit platform where people can go ahead. This is held with KW and they can send an earnest money request out to their agent and then it's held in a non-interest bearing earnest money deposit account until the closing. I do believe that there is a fee to the agent to use this. I don't know exactly, I can't remember. I want to say it's like $35 for the agent to use this. If they don't want to do a physical check, or if they don't want to use the office or something like that, or their closing company. So this is just another smooth thing that has been added to help with your client experience along the way. Especially with this day and age. I don't really see that many checks anymore, physically handwritten checks. Your buyer profile, again, that's whether or not they're using your platform. Your documents, they look very similar. So you start with your consultation phase and your buyer broker and disclosures. And then under contract, that goes very much in line with what it looks like with the listing one as well, right? Because you're sending back and forth the same documents. And then same thing with close, same thing with offers and commissions. You would add the offer and walk through all of that. I don't want to be too redundant with everyone on this kind of stuff. Does that help?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So now if you slide down to the bottom, you can see because today I've added buyers and sellers, my sales appear to be going up, even though they're not, they're fake people buying things. But that's how you can kind of track as well. And I just I really like to watch this because you can see where you're at with business. If things are going well, you can kind of track to kind of get an idea prior to things spiraling out of control. I like having this big view and knowing what's going on in my business from a bird's eye view. And it also really motivates me to stay in communication with people. So you're not dropping the ball on anybody. And it does help kind of remind you when you've had people sitting in that cultivate pile for a while because they just mentioned to you that they were interested in doing something in real estate. So you can kind of give them that nudge and make sure that you're staying in communication with them. So I do want to talk a little bit about the marketing profile. I don't want to go too far in depth about it today, but I do know that that's a part of making sure all of your material is good to go when you've got that listing going on. So does anybody have any questions about it? Because I am going to touch on it real quick. Have you done it? Do you not want me to talk about it?
We'll take it.
Go ahead and talk about it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So upper right-hand corner where your name is, your profile, we're going to drop that down and hit settings. And this is where a lot of your settings are. So if you've got a team, this is where you can change your team settings. If you need to pull more apps into your command, you can definitely do it here as well. So you want to make sure that your social media profiles are all hooked in here. I know that they talked a lot about that probably in designs when you talked about that element, and then also in the campaigns section as well. And I know during CommandCon yesterday, this was a huge thing that we talked about because 84% of buyers and sellers are all located and doing their shopping online. 84% are all on the internet. So we got to go fish in that pond. That's where people are. So we got to make sure all of this stuff is tight so that we can get out there and get our unfair share of business. So here you can link your Facebook and your Facebook business page. You can go ahead and link your Gmail in there because you can email clients and then also sync that up and keep a record. When you click on the client in your contacts, you can see all your correspondence with that individual person rather than fishing through your entire mailbox. I don't know what y'all's email looks like, but sometimes it gets really crazy in there. You can also add your Instagram and Twitter is also in there. Here you can also connect like Keller Covered and those different elements. So do make sure that all of this stuff is connected. Let's talk about your marketing profile. So over here on the left-hand menu, connect settings. If you drop that open, it says marketing profile. Let's hit that. You're going to make sure you toggle this button on over here. Use my information to brand my agent site. So that needs to be green. And here's where it goes out to. It goes out to your webpage. Any of the mailings that come out from your smart plans, any of the videos or the content that you create in your designs, your consumer app, and your command app that you use for your business. So when you set this up over here, that's where it goes to. So this is like a really big step in making sure everything's buttoned up on the back end. So on the front end, when other people are experiencing you and your business, this is what they see. So you're going to do your profile picture. This needs to be 360 by 360 pixels. You can definitely, has anyone heard of the Canva app?
Yes.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. I use it like every day. So if your profile picture is not the size that you want it to be, you can go resize it on, just do a customized size 360 by 360 and drop your profile picture in there so that you don't wind up being, like funky, like squished or stretched out. Your team logo, I just have my market center in here. So you'll have like, on your webpage, you'll have your face and then there'll be like a small circle over here with a team logo. So if you've got a branding or a piece of content that you want to be used right there, you don't necessarily have to be a team. That's just where that appears. So if you want something in that circle, that's where you would put your logo for your business. You go ahead and make sure all of your details in your name, it's all straight on there. If you have a slogan, you can definitely do your slogan. You can drop all your licensing and designations, credentials. So if you're like a military Home relocation specialist, you can drop that there. If you do luxury, if you've won awards, Circle of Excellence, if you won Realtor Awards, if you, anything like that, you can put all of that information in there. I love this, and it's kind of just in time for tomorrow as well. Like if you haven't already updated this, go ahead and drop in here. There's military affiliation. So active veterans, reserves, or if you were a military spouse, you can drop that in there. So like, let's say veteran, and then you can select the branch where you served. And then that will pop up on your profile. You'll go ahead and put your bio, double check all your information is correct in here. Your website URL needs to be correct and it's make sure it's working. Your market center information, and then I drop another picture, and then here is where you can link all of your social media profiles. So when people receive your emails, when they visit your website, anything like that, when they scroll to the bottom, it has all of your little icons that they can click and it'll take them to your social media pages. So you want to make sure all of those are updated, and then you want to go test them, make sure they work. Okay. Questions about this?
Do you
No.
find the license number of your brokerage? I would have assumed that it will be already in when they
Yeah.
give you.
You can go to DPOR license lookup. Let me give you this in the
Oh, okay.
chat.
That's fine. I'll look for it. That's okay.
So if you look yourself up, then you can, it'll say affiliated licenses and it'll show you your broker. I'll just show you real quick just because we have time. So here's me. I just search my name. So there's my license number. Related licenses. There's my Virginia Beach LLC is Town Center. So there's my license number for my broker.
Thank you.
Sometimes, like, I think, does Scott Leroy Service, do they do your back end setup? Depending on who does your setup, they may or may not have access to that immediately.
Mhm.
Yes, ma'am, they did.
Yeah. It just depends on who's doing it. Yeah. Okay, let's get back to this and see where we're at. Is your command email configured? Ooh. Let's double check that too. Okay, so you want to make sure everywhere that it's showing up, which email you're using. You also want to do, let me just check in here. I don't want to do that, and I don't want that one. Okay, so here's another place where your email exists. It's in your profile right here. If you want to edit your profile, you can definitely pop in here and make sure that one is configured correctly. The other main place, and we'll see, because yesterday after after CommandCon. Yeah, I think so. Okay, yeah. So after CommandCon yesterday, we crashed like 4 or 5 different sites during that whole exhibition. So the MyKW page today, I think, is still a little freaked out and overwhelmed from yesterday. So it's not popping up. But inside of there, you can set in your profile on MyKW, the white pages, you can make sure that you have the correct email address in there as well, so that you're routing everything correctly. And then what I always suggest that you do is, if you've got a good friend or family member or partner that will be your test dummy, send them stuff. Like, get them to use your app and download their app to their phone, and then save properties in there and make sure that you're receiving it. Have them visit your website and fill out a lead form so you can see when your lead comes in. I call this up here my ringy dingy bell in the upper right hand corner. But I always want that bell to ring, right? Because that means something's happening with leads, something happening with transactions. I'm getting updates. It's exciting, right? So you want to make sure that that's working. And then also that you actually have the Command app downloaded to your phone, because you'll get notifications on your phone as well as things are moving along and progressing with your transactions. You can check where your transactions are and you can communicate with your clients from that one as well. So definitely utilize that. Okay. And then again, back on your settings, if you do hook your Gmail in here, that's another good way to make sure that you're receiving emails and it's coming to the right place. So yeah, any questions about any further questions about how to sync your email and making sure that you're receiving leads?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I can run through this. I know nobody's on a team from what I heard. But I will go ahead and show you. Let's go back over into opportunities. So your team view, if you have a team, whoops. Okay, sometimes it just, I do too many things too fast and it freezes on me.
I do.
Okay, and if you have a team, generally under your profile, it'll show you if you're the rainmaker, that's what you're called, because you make it rain. It'll show you if you're the rainmaker, or if it says personal, then you're on your own unique one. So that's where you can drop down and see the team view. And then when you go into all opportunities in the team view, here's where you see, I've got somebody getting in and out of a car, I think. I found them. When you drop down to all opportunities, this is where you see the full list of everything in there and the stage that they're in and the phase that they're in, the amount of money you're going to make on it, and whether or not they have tags. So in team view, it's very similar to this view right now, where you can see everything that's going on, whether it's listing or buyers. So you can see that in there as well. I don't have the team view set up on this one, but that's what it would look like. So let's keep moving. I think we already know this. I talked about this, but I can show you again. When you're in here under your offers, okay, so we were talking about this one. I just went right back into my listings and then back to Betty Byard, Ruby the Realtor. If for some reason, this is the part I don't like to talk about, but if for some reason you have fallout, which happens, you know, the buyer gets denied, just something doesn't work out in the transaction and you need to release and terminate, you can come in here and you can actually take it back and reverse your steps. So you would change your response. Yes, I want to change my response. And it takes me back to be able to now accept or reject. So then here I'm going to say, I need to reject this offer. And then I can remove it altogether. So that all the offer is gone. And I'm going to take my little guy back out. Well, first I need to also document in here that there was a release and termination on this property, so we can release the earnest money deposit and any other financials that may or may not be held up. And then I'm going to come back out to my sales pipeline and I'm going to say, I get small so you can see. I'm going to take this guy. What do I do? I used to have a little button there. Here it is. Lost opportunity.
Hmm.
I know. Who just made that sound?
Me.
Yeah. It's a terrible thing. Everyone hates doing it. And you do have that like actual sound.
I don't want to learn that one.
But that's the button that nobody wants to know that you do have it there. So that you would say last opportunity and save it. And it's, whoops, and it's gone. Okay. And then you just come back out here. And I do believe there used to be a way I could delete this whole thing. It might be under, if I go back to active, there used to be a button that said, yeah, legacy. So I would move him back and I would put him in my legacy account because he never closed. And sometimes they'll go back on the market. Sometimes they're really upset and they don't want to go back on the market. It just depends. So yeah, so that's how you lose an opportunity. One thing we don't want to talk about. And then it does actually change your probability of closing. So these numbers will start to shift again. So it went down. Because my likelihood of closing it just decreased, right?
Yep.
So moving on. And then I already showed you how you got paid. And I showed you how you could do deductions. I didn't show you how you do splits, which let's just go back in here. Let's go ahead and offer again. Let's get happy again and make it happen. Oops. So that's a hefty earnest money amount, 15,000. And they're going to do 1,500. Oops. I'm liking the zeros today. Okay, so then I've accepted this one. I'm going to manage my commissions. So down here, I didn't talk about these buttons. I think mainly because we're solo agents here, but sometimes when you receive a referral, or maybe you are working with like a buyer's agent or somebody's running around for you, right? And helping out with whatever you're doing. So you can add another agent or you can add a co-broke payment. So let's do add another agent for right now. And this is what it would look like. So let's say that is going to be my husband. Well, no. Who do I have? Let's say Annetta. She's one of our agents in this office. So Annette is going to help me with this. We're going to split it 50-50. So then that's how I would calculate the gross commission on it. You just hit that little button if I split it 50-50. Or let's say she's only going to get a quarter of it. And I'm going to take 75%. So then she only gets 2,625. Or let's say I referred it over to her and I'm only going to get 25%. So then I'm going to give her 75%, calculate commissions. You see that?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So then it shows company dollar in the split, errors and emissions insurance, all of that fun stuff down through here. It's all zeros because we don't, if you want to add to, so in our office, I'm already paying errors and emissions as part of my office fee. So it's not coming out directly from my commission, right? In your office, it might be a little bit different in how that gets handled. Now, if I want to donate to an additional thing, then I can absolutely do that. So let's go back and say we're on a team together, me and Annetta, and it's a 50-50 split. If I want to add additional items, like I want to say it was an outside referral, here is where I can say how much would go to that outside referral. And then I would have to put in the company ID, broker information, agent name, all of that information, right? And then you would add. Does that make sense too?
Yes.
I'm adding that agent and I'm saying how much she's getting. And then I'm adding all of their information in there. So I'm going to save that. And then if I add a co-broke payment, this would be which company if there's a different brokerage that's receiving money for a referral, this is where that information would go in there as well.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is this eliminating a lot of actual hard copy paperwork also? Or are you able to print things out when you need them to be printed out?
Yeah, you should have a paper trail. The answer is
No, I'm
keep-
just saying, not eliminating it 100%, but it kind of helps you, and then you get a good,
It
great
does.
printout.
Yeah, so it does help a little bit. This is more like the back end MCA part of things where they're
Okay.
seeing how they're gonna divvy out the money. But it does not completely eliminate that paper trail because you still want to have those signed
Hard copies.
W-9s between the two brokerages and the two firms when
Right.
you're doing those referrals. And even if it's internal, you still want to have agreements signed between the agents.
Mhm.
Just to keep things above board. And, you know, in real estate, you definitely always want to have a paper trail and agreements in writing.
Yeah, so I was just asking that because of, we got the DocuSign up here now, you can sign documents, but just saying, all the way back to the beginning of like a listing or a sale, it kind of breaks it down so you don't have to sit and actually fill physical paperwork out. And then
Yes. Yeah.
that's my question.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so you're
Okay.
really just doing agreements and disclosures, and then when it comes to the financials, this is where you're handling the financials.
Okay.
Yes, yes. Sorry, I didn't answer that all the way
That's
the
okay.
first time.
It's all right.
Okay, so then, let's see, did I add it in there? Yeah, so then there's that co-broke, and there's the person that we're receiving information on that. So then it does change again. Who gets what? Paid to the agents, and then it shows you exactly who gets what amount of money. Okay. Wow, this one is a fast one today. So that's it for working in opportunities. Technically, we have 2 whole hours to talk about opportunities. But I've covered everything that you would do on how you drag people through. I can go way further in depth and open up RAIN and pull information out of Instinet. I can go like super into that level if you want me to. But just judging by the skill level of what I'm hearing from you guys already, it sounds like you are comfortable with that. It was more just using the software to get your business where you want it to go.
Yeah.
Yes, no,
Yes.
maybe. Yeah.
Well,
What
Ruth,
questions?
I'm going to tell you, I think that what you've gone over has helped me a lot because I had no idea that opportunities was helping me keep track of what I'm supposed to do next with my clients. Because I was writing them down on a piece of paper and sticking them on my wall.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's nothing really wrong with that. Like, if you look at a lot of different agents and their systems and how they chart things, like we still have a lot of agents that use a whiteboard on their wall, and that's totally fine. Because it gives you that visual before you turn the computer on. But being able to have all of it just sitting in here, the main thing, like I said, that I love when I come in here is I can see who I'm starting business with and who I'm working to cultivate. And when I can see that, maybe I'm money motivated, I don't know. But when I can see that dollar sign attached to something and I know what my potential income is, so walking into 2023, if I'm loading people in that pipeline and I know at some point in the next year, they're going to be closing properties with me, I can see my potential and probable income for the year, my gross amounts, right? So I can start tracking in that direction. And if we know moving into the shifting market, like what the fallout's going to be, and you want to just kind of increase and change some of your margins of business and being prepared for some fallout. So if you estimate that maybe your turnover ratios will drop by 15% just because of the market, just because a buyer might not get qualified, right? So your listings might be dropping by anywhere from 15 to 20%, the close rate on them. Then you can look at your margins and look at your numbers for the end of the year and go, okay, well, for this quarter, I need to do X number more listings. So I need to have X number more pieces of business sitting in that pipeline in order to close the amount that I know that I need to close to hit my numbers. Does that help? Yeah.
Yes.
It's just I don't know, you use it to your advantage the way that you want to. It doesn't mean that you're fully going to rip all the sticky notes off your wall today and you're going to dump everything into here. But as you kind of transition through this process of getting used to using Command, using it to fuel your business, using it to stay in communication with your clients, because we know the data. So we know that the majority of agents, they stop touching, they stop their, 36 touch, 8 touches, 12 touches, whatever it is. They stop touching after 2. Over 75% of agents stop communicating after 2 touches if somebody's not going to budge in a transaction. It takes 8 to turn over a lead. So by having these systems set in there and you're automating your systems that way, is naturally going to increase your business. And then also with that listing thing, by having your listing marketing materials sitting right in front of you, it's already that reminder to go, okay, I need to send my postcards out. I need to door knock, 10 houses around this subject property. I need to make sure that I've got all of my brochures ready to go in here. I need to make sure that I'm not just doing this on a physical level, but I'm doing this on a social media level as well. And then it's right there in front of you, because I think there's a lot of like, what do we call it? Analysis paralysis, essentially, where you're like, oh, I should do a postcard. Oh, but I need to work on the graphics. Oh, but I don't know what I'm going to say in it. That kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And then we get stuck in the process of executing. We don't get all the way to the full execution standpoint. So having something there that's already 90% executed and all you have to do is push the button. I mean, if you're not already doing that, I would suggest doing that and then seeing what happens in your business. Because I think we can't afford not to circle prospect and become the local experts and to do all of the things around every listing. So it's a lot to kind of take on. And I feel that, and I see that with agents. I'm definitely seeing it a lot more over the last 3 months. We have a lot more tired agents, a lot more like mentally drained agents, because you're thinking in loopholes, trying to make sure transactions close, trying to make sure your leads come in. And then on top of that, add like getting ready for the holidays, making sure you have money to buy the kids presents, like all of those fun things. So yeah, anything that can be done to streamline and make life easier.
I have a question.
That's for, yeah.
These people that we talk to, they become opportunities once they have given us an idea that they're interested in buying or selling. And they have a timeline.
Yes.
So what is a lead then? What's the difference between an opportunity and a lead?
That's a $1 million question. So Gary Keller says a lead is someone who is ready, willing, and able to participate in a real estate transaction right now.
Right now.
That's what Gary Keller says a lead is. Then if you talk to just brokers, just any random broker, they say, we give you leads. Well, they mean we give you a phone number. We give you a data point. We just give you a piece of information and it's raw and it's untouched and it's not warm. And the conversion rate for a raw, untouched cold call lead is 1 to 100. So you have to call 100 people before you're going to get a probable one yes. If you're looking at your database in terms of your, the MREA models, your METs, haven't METs. So we're all the way out here on marketing and prospecting, right? So you're just putting cold stuff out there. That's 1 to 100. Move into your haven't METs category. So this is where there could be a concept around like social media advertising. Someone may have handed off like a kind of a cold referral and said, I think so-and-so wants to buy or sell. That's your haven't METs category. That's 1 to every 50 that you're going to turn over.
Mhm.
Now let's move to your METs category, your innermost circle, where you're asking for referrals. This is your internal business. This is the people that are sitting there in your cultivate pile. It's 1 to 6, 1 out of every 6.
Okay.
So that's kind of, it drives the importance of, I don't know how you want to categorize the word lead in your mind. To me, It's somebody who's ready, willing, and able to participate in a real estate transaction in the next 0 to 6 months,
Mhm.
Okay.
to me. Because you get people who are like, I need to finish working on debt consolidation, getting my debt to income ratio balanced. I need to pay off a credit card, and then I'm good to go so that I'm in the right category for buying a property. Or now it's not just put it on the market, it sells. It's like, I need to do my moisture termite treatment. So I need to get somebody under my house and get that tightened up. I need to paint that crazy looking room that my son painted and it's, neon green or whatever, and I need to update my bathrooms prior to listing. So you still have had a substantive conversation with somebody about buying or selling real estate. And then you're going to drop them in there and stay in constant communication with them. So you're sending them that pre-listing package. You're calling them and checking on them, seeing if they need a contractor, seeing if you can refer anybody to them. You're calling and checking on them and saying, hey, I'm still sending you properties to look at. Are you using the app? Hey, I saw you looked at a property in this Smart View thing, or in the Smart Plans Neighborhood Nurture. So you can kind of get an idea of what's happening in the market and how are you guys doing in terms of getting ready to purchase a home? Do you have any questions I can answer? So, but by having them sitting there in that cultivate thing, I need to be in communication, and you're setting reminders in there, and then you're following up on that communication.
So those leads always need to be put under the opportunity.
Oh yeah, I would.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can
So
I
that
ask
might
a
mean you have
question?
a lot. Sorry, go ahead.
Can I ask a question for the new agents? It seems that like I'm trying to take those classes. It's like a second month I'm doing it. It seems that basically we talk about stuff and how to create opportunities, but it's basic.
You froze.
It's not for new agents. Just where should I go and just basically go through stuff in Command, like changing from a pro coach account to my account, how my contacts can go from my account to the pro coach account, so I can actually create a room on DocuSign and all those stuff, because as I guess it's happening for a second time with me. I do have a rental lead right now.
Mhm.
I have it as a contact, and I still don't know how to send them the tenant agreement that they, like the represent the representative. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. The tenant representation agreement that they need to sign. I don't know how to do that. So is there anywhere or videos or anything that I can watch to
Which market center are you in? Or what area? Say where?
Kingstown?
I didn't get that.
Alexandria, Virginia. It's Kingstown.
Okay. Kyle, is Kyle Henderson your person? I think you have Kyle.
Person.
I'm just gonna take your name down. So part of what you're saying, so you do have a team feature. If they're giving you like leads or assigning people to you to work with, you do have a team feature, and they need to go in the settings to release to you to be able to do all of your marketing to that individual person. And as far as the tenant agreement goes, I think your area uses DocuSign. Is that right?
Yeah. That's DocuSign, yes.
So you should be able to send through either Command or through your MLS with DocuSign. You should be able to send all of those agreements out to that individual. As far as being able to see inside your account, we need to find your market center. Let me see if I even have it on here. They used to have, they don't. I was gonna say, they used to have who was over which region, all the MCTTs on this thing, but I don't see it on this particular spreadsheet anymore.
Should I just contact the tech support guy in our office?
Yeah,
and
for
just,
your
like, talk to
office,
them?
they need, they need to go in and change your settings for you so that you can do your marketing. And then also make sure that your accounts are set up so that you can send out your agreements. Those would be the two main things that I would check on.
Okay. So, okay.
Mhm. what other questions can I answer? And I mean, I'll field just about anything. If I can answer it, I will answer it, and or I will find you somebody to get the answer to you in regards to anything, opportunities, anything with your marketing profile, any of that. Was this useful?
Yes.
It's very useful.
Yes,
Okay,
thank you.
good. Okay, well then I'm gonna wrap up actually a little bit and let you go early because we plowed through some information today. So here's what's up next. Tomorrow is compliance and DocuSign, which is it Lilia? Is that how you say
Yeah.
it?
Mhm.
Lilia? If you want to pop on that one tomorrow, 9 to 11, they will walk through how to send things through command. And that might help get you some answers, but not everything that you need. You definitely need to have your marketing features opened up to be able to communicate with people.
Yeah, I actually was told that I need to go through my Pro Coach account so he can follow what I'm actually doing. So
Okay.
those are the steps that I'm missing. And I think that I watched the video, the last, I mean, not the video, but the training on DocuSign last month. And again, like we're starting, I think from somewhere that I still cannot get there. But I'm just gonna talk to my coach and just figure that out.
Okay, this
Because,
one too. I'm gonna go ahead and drop this one in the chat. This is the
Yeah, I
kid.
have those. Yes.
Good. I was gonna say, that one's gonna have all of the recordings, even the one from today, that's gonna have all of the recordings on there. Of everything that we do as far as trainings go. So when you're feeling like super stuck on something, you can definitely hit that and find some answers in there too.
Where is that again, Ruth? For today's,
The KW Region 12, I just dropped it in the group chat. It's our YouTube channel,
Mhm.
KW BAWV Region 12.
okay,
Mhm. And that one, like I said, it has like all of our training, all of these videos that we do on command, it's all in there. Lilia, do you also have access to your own personal command where you can drop your personal contacts in it?
Yes, I do, but then like I have to switch from my account to the Pro Coach account.
Yeah.
So I can continue with the creating like a opportunity and actually be able see that's what I'm missing, the information, like how do I create the room with the documents that I have to email to them so they can like DocuSign to me. That's what I'm missing. But I don't, in those trainings that we do right now, I don't think that I haven't seen it. If it's like day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, I haven't seen it yet. So I'm just like, yeah, I guess I need
Some
to
of
talk to-
that too actually is based on the account settings. They might not have everyone in your Pro Coach account set to be able to do all of those things. Because they can restrict it. So there's like a standard, like an intermediate and a high level on the different categories that you're allowed to touch inside of command. So when you look at your own personal one, which is what I was showing today, the personal command account for an individual solo agent, you can do anything. You can send anything, you can do anything that you want to be doing. If you are on a team, sometimes there are certain restrictions depending on what you've got going on. And that's for a lot of reasons. Like you might have somebody like a transaction coordinator and you're a buyer's agent. So you just send everything to the transaction coordinator and then they handle the sending and the documenting and the commission requests and all of that. So you can go out there and do business. So it might just be that you've got a wonky setting. I've also had it where I've had rainmakers that were not aware that they could go in and change the settings for their agents. So, and their agents didn't know to ask because they just were unaware that they would be able to have that feature. So then we've gone in there and changed all the settings so that the agents are able to do more with their contacts and lead generation and business and submitting for compliance. So, yeah. Okay, well, if we don't have too many more questions, do we have any more questions? I guess I should ask that.
Not from me.
I do have a question, but I'm not exactly sure like where to start with it. I feel like with the current market, a lot of people will be looking to rent or lease, and that's kind of where I want to start, but I don't know where I can find information on that through KW.
So you do want to get hyper local with that. I would actually encourage you to do buy versus rent and show people what it looks like to their equity in buy versus rent. I would encourage you to look into programs in your area for what people can do with an FHA loan product or a VA loan product. Where are you located, Janelle?
I'm out of the Chesapeake office.
Girl, we got you. Okay, and you have some great resources over there too. Okay, so I would definitely lean into buy versus rent, get in touch with your local lender and take a look at your amount down for a $200,000 property with an FHA or a VA loan. I would definitely beef up on your strategies if you are doing the Shift series in your market center on financing solutions. I literally just taught it last week. I would definitely lean heavily into that and what it looks like to buy down points if they're going to be staying for a while, or doing different types of loan options where they can assume loans. So VA loans are assumable, which means they can assume somebody else's mortgage and the rate that is currently on that mortgage. And you know that the military are about to start PCSing in December. So we don't actually slow down that much in this market. So definitely take a look into that, because I'm just going to tell you, I'm just going to be really honest with you. You're going to use the same amount of energy working with rentals and leases that you would with buyers and sellers. But the payout on rentals on leases is about $200 max because you're getting a finder's fee, right? Versus if you are working with a commission-based product and you're helping someone buy or sell. So you are licensed, you are able, you are more than capable. You just need some tools. And I would not give up on the buying and selling aspect of things to lean into rentals and leases. Yes, you can help those individuals as well. Yes, you can absolutely help them source properties. Yes, you can work with investors who want to flip properties and make them rental units. Yeah, I would look at it like that. Get in there, talk to Cassette, talk to Jerry, is your MCTT over there. Talk to Wendy Goodman. She's on KWYP with me, talk to her. I would definitely lean into that instead of leaning into just rentals.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions?
No, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes, thank
absolutely.
you.
Go back and watch it again. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to juggle work and watching these classes.
It's life. That's what we got to do sometimes. So, well, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for asking me questions. I like it when we
Thank
can.
you.
Thank you, Ruth.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I absolutely like it when you guys share because a lot of times we can learn from each other when people ask questions. So thank you. I appreciate it. So
Thank you.
y'all have a great day.
You
You
too.
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 Bye.
Bye.